Hey, what's up YouTube? We're going to be looking at the Schrade SCHF2 survival hollow handle survival knife. Just remove it from the sheath here. Take a look at that. Before we get into discussing the knife itself, let's take a look at the sheath. It's a pretty cheap sheath, which Schrade is kind of notorious for. Just a nylon Cordura type sheath. It does have some nice features on it though. It's got this Velcro straps. You can put that on your belt. I've added this piece of shot cord. They include some boot laces for the lanyard and for the leg strap. I've replaced that though with paracord and shot cord here. So I've done a few mods, by the way. This pouch that you see, well, before we get into that, there is some MOLLE attachments on the back. So that snaps open, and got some webbing there you can attach to your MOLLE. And then this pouch actually comes off if you want. And I've got a, what was this? Smith's sharpener. And since it is a serrated, partially serrated blade, got that on my sharpener so that I can sharpen this in the field. And then a friendly Swede magnesium bar and striker so that I can make fire. And then I actually took the boot lace that's in there and just stuffed it in for extra cordage. This pouch actually has a plastic buckle that comes with it. I took that off because it serves no purpose. The Velcro itself is very secure. The buckle just adds more bulk, so there's no point of having that. And it's got this adjustable Velcro snap. I had some issues with that, so I had to kind of customize it, but that seems to work pretty good. So all around, it's a decent sheath. It does have a plastic liner inside there. For some reason, they give you the liner that is angled, which it must go to some other knife, and they're just reusing it for this, and they don't want to take the 2 seconds to cut it flat. So when you get it, you'll see a little corner sticking out, a little edge. Just pull it up a little and cut it flush. The knife will fit in there perfect. So, the way I have this shot cord here, you can loop it onto the back, so when you're not using it, it's not hanging off. It's hidden. That's what I do for that. Okay, so the knife itself, the blade is a little over 7 inches long, and you've got about, I don't know, 1.5 inches of serration. And it's kind of interesting the way they did that. It's not super pointy. It's kind of rounded, but it's still very sharp. So you don't have to worry about those rolling over on you if you cut through something hard. Those should hold up pretty well and be able to be resharpened pretty well. It's a pretty heavy knife. Weighs about a pound. I don't know, I really like the shape of the knife, just the general look. You could use it for batoning. It's got enough of a straight edge there that you don't have to worry about the fixed or the serrations interfering with you. So you can use about 5 inches of regular blade for whatever you want. On the handle, I always like to put things on my handles. The handle that it comes with, it's just exposed metal, and it's It's got a textured kind of grip to it that's really rough on the hands. I've seen other reviews where it kind of chews people's hands up when they're hacking with the knife. So I just put this grip on there. This is just a kind of a generic knife or any type of handle grip. It's rubber that you just pull over like a sleeve. Fits on there perfect. And then I just put a little electrical tape up top to cinch that in. Seems to work pretty nice. The steel on this, I believe, is 1075 high carbon. And does have this protective coating on it to keep it from rusting. So it's pretty decent steel, actually. Again, it feels really good in the hand. It's got a nice weight and balance to it. And then probably the selling point of this knife is going to be the hollow handle. So in this pommel, which by the way, that's a great pommel. It's solid steel, flat. I guess it's a octagon or hexagon shape. Unscrews, it's got this thick O-ring right there to keep that watertight inside. And I'll talk about that for a second. Everybody's familiar with the cheap 80s survival knives. They had a screw-on cap, but due to the fact that they weren't one solid piece of steel, which this is, there was a possibility that water could leak in from the top. So they would have contents encapsulated in like a little plastic container with scotch tape around it, because if you did get the knife submerged in the water would leak through into the handle. But this, all you need is that O-ring, screw it on tight, water's not going to get in there. Also, another selling point here is this is solid steel, so this is in a sense full tang because the steel runs all the way through the handle. And it doesn't go just right to there, it comes to about here. So you've got a nice thick section of steel here at the base. So that's not going to snap. It's just not going to happen. Inside, unfortunately, we're not going to get into all that. I'll just tell you what's in there. Hopefully you can see. We took a couple ibuprofens, put those at the very bottom, wrapped in foil. I have some alcohol prep pads, a couple Band-Aids, a needle, and about 5 feet of twine, and then a little thumb light. So, I've got some cordage, a light source, some first aid, a needle, just some basic things that you can put in there. Doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Just something you can have in there just in case. I wouldn't say those are things you'd want to be using actively. Those are just kind of last resort type items. Now this knife comes with a screw set that fits into here, but everybody I know who gets this knife takes that out because a screw set is worthless in the wilderness. Having difficulty screwing that back on for some reason. There we go. Okay, and another thing I've done to this, replace the bootlace in the pommel with a length of 850 paracord. So instead of 550 test weight, this is 850. It has 8 individual strands instead of, what is it, 550 I guess has 5. And essentially what that does is gives you the ability to, this is about a foot and a half of rope. You can cut that open, cut off the ends, take out those individual strands, and that increases the length of the cordage that you have. So if you wanted to, you could tie those together, and then you'd have about, you know, who knows, 15 feet of rope or something like that to use. It's also about the perfect size for snares, so you could make 8 individual snares out of this if you needed to. You know, probably for something like birds would be most effective, like a Hopi bird snare. Wouldn't really work too well for rabbits, maybe for small rodents, but gives you some snare options there. With the sheath, you've got the shock cord there, so it's elastic, so you can use that for a spring engine for a snare if you needed to as well, or just for general cordage. Then also have the 3-foot long section of bootlace that comes with it. That is pretty much it on this one. I just really like this knife. I haven't gotten much of a chance to use it yet, but as far as hollow handled survival knives, this is one of the best out there, especially for the money. They do have those Robson or Robeson hollow handled survival knives for like $400 or $500, which are pretty cool, but this is retails for about $62 on Amazon, free shipping. And from what I hear, this is a pretty bomb-proof knife. It's incredibly sharp. It came pretty darn sharp, and I touched it up myself, so it's a really sharp knife, really pointy. Got the serrations, so again, it's just a very useful knife. You could baton with it. You could even use it for hacking, sort of like a mini machete. It's got enough length to it to where you could hack through vegetation and such. And it's got enough weight, especially if you held it down lower on the pommel. You can really get the leverage with it. So, very versatile, useful knife. Thus far, I don't really have anything bad to say about it, but again, I haven't gotten a chance to use it much, but my first impressions are very favorable for it. So that's pretty much it for this one. This is the SCHF2 by Schrade. Make sure to like and comment and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.